All set, Sam? City of Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on October 23rd, 2006, 6:30 PM concerning the following petitions. First one we have is Robert Monahan Jr., 109 Industrial Ave. Is he here tonight? Is anybody here for this petition? We do have a letter that he wants to withdraw this petition. I need a motion to withdraw.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to withdraw the petition without prejudice.
I second the motion.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Belanger?
Withdraw.
Mr. Flynn?
Withdraw.
Mr. Geary?
Withdraw.
And Mr. Kazanjian?
Withdraw. Next one we have is Omni Point Communications, 527 Pawtucket Boulevard, to allow installation of wireless telecommunications facility and related equipment. Yes, sir. Why don't you step up to the podium and sign in and state your name and address, please? You have to talk right into that mic.
Daniel Vasali, I'm the attorney for OmniPoint Communications. My firm is Prince Lowell, Gloucester and Ty. We're out of Boston. OmniPoint is the applicant.
Try to talk on the mic. You're going to be televised, and this way they can hear you. Thank you.
My apologies, Mr. Chairman. Again, my name is Daniel Vasali. I'm the attorney for OmniPoint Communications. OmniPoint Communications is the applicant. They're based out of Norton, Massachusetts. The applicant is requesting a special permit from this board for the installation of a wireless communications facility at 527 Pawtucket Boulevard. This is a rooftop facility which consists of only 3 antennas, 2 of which will be installed within a false or stealth flue pipe. The third, to the back of the building, facing away from the street, will be a facade-mounted antenna painted to match the exterior of the building. All the applicant's accessory radio equipment will be inside the building in a leased room. Therefore, the sum of the facility will be stealth or have no visual impact other than the false or fake flue pipe on top of the roof, which will extend no more than 10 feet per the bylaw, per the ordinance's restrictions. I have plans of the facility. And I gave a quick description, and I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have. As you can tell from our legal submission, we have met the criteria for the issuance of a special permit from this board. The RF information submitted in the package. Excuse me one second. At tab 4 shows the expected and existing coverage in the area. As you can discern from those propagation maps, as well as the affidavit of a radio frequency expert, there is a significant gap in coverage along State Highway 113 to the north and south of that, across the river from the property, and to the north in that residential area. The next prediction or propagation map shows the expected coverage or projected coverage, which will fill the gap between the 2 existing sites at the Church of the Nazarene and the marginal street site.
Okay, let's see if anyone wants to speak on behalf of this. Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor for this petition? In favor? Anybody in opposition? In opposition. Okay, so we have a few questions here on the board, I'm sure.
Of course.
This proposed antenna is going to be, what, 10 feet in height above the roof line, is that correct?
The 2 antennas in the fake flue pipe, yes. The other one will not extend above the roof, the 3rd antenna in the back of the building.
Okay, how many antennas altogether?
3 antennas total.
3 antennas? Okay, and the other equipment is going where?
It's going inside the building. The applicant has leased an area in this area of the building, which will contain the equipment There will be it will not be seen from anywhere other than inside the room, obviously.
Is that part of the elevator shaft? Where he's gonna where he's gonna put the equipment?
It is not part of the elevator shaft. It is a separate room on the 8th level of the building.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Corey, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chairman. What I do like about the petition is that everything is internal. I mean, this is a beautiful building. It's one of the premier projects in the city. And the fact that this is internal, I do like. But at this time, this building is not occupied. Am I right?
That's correct.
Well, I think it's only fair that, buyers or potential buyers be notified of this. I mean, we still don't know the long-term effects. There may not be any, I don't know, of a cell tower living next door to one. I don't know. It's unknown. But I think it's only fair to a buyer or potential buyer that they are aware of this situation, so.
Well, the first point is that obviously this facility will operate well under the FCC limitations for RF&ME. Secondly, the landowner is given us authorization. We've leased space with the landowner, who is the Grandview Condo Association, and therefore the landowner, you would have to assume that would be part of their disclosures to any potential buyers. Secondly, to emphasize your point about the reasonableness or the responsible type of installation versus antennas sticking out everywhere, is we have a photo sim that shows that type of installation, and to emphasize your point that it is internal and it is a very responsible and reasonable facility. You can see that there's only the one small pipe there that will house the antennas, and you have those in your packets. But again, the FCC mandates the type of exposure or the type of frequency or the power that is emitted from these facilities, and it's well below that. Sometimes not exceeding maybe 1% of the total maximum. So there are no health risks per se, if that's your concern. Secondly, again, the landowner is part of this application as far as the lease, the landowner and the lessor. So you would think that they would be part of the disclosure to any sales. And I don't know if this is an actual condo unit versus an apartment building, and I apologize for that. I'm not sure which one it is.
For the record, it's condominiums, I believe.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, that seems sufficient. Other than that, it's concealed nicely. I mean, it's a beautiful building, and it's going to be concealed, and there's nobody in opposition, so I don't have a problem with it. Thank you.
Okay, hold on, Jack. Mr. Belanger brought up a good point. Is this in the condo docs at all?
I'm sorry?
Is this in the condo docs as far as so the owners do know? These are condominiums.
We're not privy to the condo documentation, but if they're condos, that makes sense. It is a condo company that's built it and is selling it, I assume. Again, we typically do numerous installations on top of condos. The condo association, typically it's after they're inhabited by buyers, and the condo association votes to approve such things. Here, any buyer is aware of, because that's part of the common area, would go towards their condo fee, so they would be made aware of that within their purchase and sale agreements or what have you. Plus, before we can install the installation, it'll obviously be registered with the Registry of Deeds in Middlesex North. So any title search will come up with this installation on there.
Now, how about the fee for the antenna? Is that going to be going to the condo association?
Well, it goes to the condo owner, which right now is Grandview Condos. Once they sell, I assume it goes to the condo fee, because in any condo under mass law, or typically any condo law in any state, once sold, the condo owners own an equal share in the common areas, and this is considered a common area.
Okay, so in other words, once the builder is done and the condo association takes over, the association is gonna get the fee for the antenna?
I can assume that. I'm sorry, I don't have, I'm not privy to those documents, the actual condo documents. We don't know what they're drawing up for their potential buyers.
I myself really don't have a problem with it, but maybe we should get this, before we do approve it, get this in our hands to say who's gonna get this fee. Is it the association of the building, or is it gonna be the owner of the building? And are the people that are buying a unit aware of the towers, the antenna is gonna be there?
Well, I can ask or request the owner, but they're not have any obligation to provide it, nor I think or believe do they have to provide it for this board to deliberate on whether the facility meets the special permit criteria. I agree with you. I think that it is an important question as far as, who is going to benefit from it. But again, if this is an actual a condominium under Massachusetts law, then the whole is owned by the condo association. And that would be, therefore, into the condo association fees. I don't know what the condo docs say, and I don't know if there's any way for me to get that to you.
Yeah, I don't want an individual buying a condominium over there, and they're not aware of a cell tower going on top of the roof. Then all of a sudden they have problems, or somewhere down the road.
Well, number one,
if they're aware of the cell tower prior to buying a condominium, then it's a different story.
no, I understand, and again, any title search will show that there is a wireless communications facility there. Secondly, the owners would be obligated to disclose that if it comes up, and thirdly, the assumption is that the condo association will receive the fees, and they'll review, or their attorney will review the condo documentation prior to buying so there really is in reality no practical way for someone to miss this if they're buying a condo there.
So in other words, once you put the cell tower on top of the condominium, it's registered with the registry of deeds? Is that what you're saying?
We can't get a building permit if we have to register your special permit with the registry of deeds prior to getting a building permit.
Okay.
So once it's prior to us even building it, it's registered on the deeds, and whoever is doing a title search on any of that property will come up with this.
All right, go ahead, Jack.
Separate buildings. It's referred to as Grandview condominiums. And the building which is depicted in the photograph is Building 1. That building has been turned over, and there are occupants currently moving in, I believe, even as we speak. Building 2, and so my question would be, is it your intention to limit this to the one permit for this building, or is there going to be a second on the other building as well?
No, will be contained to this one building per your, and you can condition that we don't touch the other building as well. We're fine with that. This is a solution for that area of Lowell. It will be on this one building, those 3 antennas.
The other comment I would make is, since apparently there wasn't communication to you, and it may not be necessary to even impart that to you, that there are currently people moving in as we speak, I would agree with my fellow board members that I think these individuals who have purchased this condominium now discover that there's going to be cell towers on there. They are at the very least entitled to know that. Whether or not there is any danger is still open for debate, as far as I know. We've had other petitioners come in and come before us, and we've had those in objection to those petitions bring in information which would contradict what you've imparted to us. Obviously, there's no legal standpoint either way, but I think I would agree with the chairman and any other board members, certainly Mr. Belanger, that I think it would be incumbent at the very least to make sure that these individuals are informed that the towers are indeed on the structure.
And I would agree with you. Any legal owner has been notified. So if they purchased the condo, they would be on the abutters list. And they would have been notified of this hearing, and they could have come and objected to it.
I don't think they're on that abutters list right yet. They just moved in there. That hasn't hit City Hall yet.
So
They're not on that abutters list, no.
No, they wouldn't.
Definitely not.
I don't know how long it takes to get on the assessors.
And before we go any further on this, we'd have to get consent from those owners that already purchased this piece of property. I would not, by myself, I would not go any further unless, if there's 5 owners there, we want consent for 5 owners. I don't want them to buy a condominium and all of a sudden we put a cell tower on top of it and they have problems.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Mr. Chairman. I am simply saying that the legal owner has given us authorization. We have noticed all legal
That's fine.
abutters.
The legal owner gave you authorization, but we have some individuals that bought some units, some condominiums in there, and we're concerned about those individuals. We're not doubting the project. The cell tower is not a problem, but we want to make sure all not the tenants, but the condominium owners are satisfied, and the future condominium owners are going to be satisfied.
Well, I can appreciate that concern. All I'm trying to impart is that everybody who's legally supposed to be notified has been notified.
They haven't been notified. There's no way they're on the abutters list. They just moved in there.
Again, under 40A, everybody who's legally...
They haven't been. Vesna, you like to speak?
I do share a similar concern as my fellow board members, but before I restate or maybe add on to what my fellow board members have asked you or spoke to you about, let me ask you a few questions, if I may. You deal with antenna on the building, you deal directly with the owners, is that correct?
Whoever the legal owner is, yes.
Yes. The legal owner meaning the owner of the whole building. Is that what I'm to understand? It's not the individual condo owner that you talk to or deal with.
The property owner for this property is Grandview Condominium LLC,
I see.
and that's who we have authorization to file for.
I see. Have you have an opportunity to meet with the condo associations there, or is there one established yet?
To be honest with you, sir, I don't know if there's one established, and we have not met with any condo association at the property.
You see, in the past, as my fellow board member brought up, as well as in the past, is our effort is try to, we are not against antennas and put up, for the purpose of, communication, telecommunications and whatnot. But we do encourage petitioners to look for sites that is industrial, per se. Where this one is at is right on the top of the residential area. There's a multiple condo on the bottom of where you're going to put the antenna. There has not been definitive finding as to the health effect of, despite whatever you say, despite whatever the rule said. I still have not find any definitive study that there's no health effect on the people who live near or on the bottom of that antennas. So I have an issue there, and I prefer that there is some meeting with the condo associations to further iron this out, but still my major issue is that the residential area, and I find it difficult to approve this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If I may respond. Obviously, this board is well aware that the Telecommunications Act, in effect, although leaving authority in this board to grant or deny a special permit, also essentially forecloses the denial of a special permit based on supposed health effects. The FCC mandates a certain maximum, regardless of where or the area of the facility. The facilities run under those maximums, and as long as the facility is under the FCC maximum, which this is, the board cannot make a determination for denial based on health effects. And based on your questions and your concerns, that's exactly what you are implying. And I don't discount those concerns, and I don't want to say that you can't deny for whatever reason you feel proper. All I'm simply saying to the board is that The FCC regulates that, and the board regulates the ordinance's special permit criteria.
Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I beg to differ from you. We can decide, we can vote either yes or no. I mean, if you want to take this to court and appeal our decision, that's totally up to you. I mean, you can't tell us and sit there and tell us that, I know the FCC does have a certain mandate, but you can't tell us as a board that we can't vote yes or no on that.
Mr. Chairman, again, I'm not telling the
You
board.
most certainly did.
I'm telling you that if you're basing your decision for denial on the
Well,
health effects, you cannot do
We're
that.
gonna make our decision, and if you have to go any further after that, that's totally up to you.
I don't want to threat, I'm
Okay.
not trying to say we
All right.
want to do.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, through you.
Good.
I didn't think that's where the board was going, in my humble opinion. I think what the chairman was alluding to, I think what Mr. Belanger was alluding to, and I know what I was alluding to, was the idea of some sort of perhaps continuance, which would then allow a time frame for us to be assured that each of the current owners of these condominiums have been informed and thereby can make a decision, and you could come back as the board decides with the continuance, that the information has been provided to us, that these individuals have been informed. We do not want to make a decision without any assurance that these individual owners have been informed of their rights. Thank you.
Mr. Geary?
My question was answered, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Flynn? What's that? Well, basically what we're coming down to, we have so many individuals that bought condominiums there. And we don't want to approve this antenna without their consent. That's what it comes down to. Now, if you want to reach out to the owner and have yourself and him talk to the owners of the condominiums and see if they either yes or no consent to this antenna, we have no problem with the antenna, but we just want to protect the people that are buying the units there. That's all.
Understandable.
That's what it comes down to.
Maybe a continuance, as Mr. Knox suggested. I'll have OmniPoint talk to the landowner, see about some kind of notice to whoever's there. I don't know who's there. And I can't imagine a problem with that for my client, obviously. So I would think that we issue some kind of notice, and they can be aware that there's a public hearing. Once we get a continuance date, we'll issue that in the notice, and if they want to object to the installation, they can object at the public hearing. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. What kind of time frame are you looking for?
The next,
2 weeks enough?
is that the next hearing, 2 weeks?
November 13th.
That's 3 weeks from tonight, Mr. Chairman.
That's plenty of time.
That's plenty of time? Okay.
And counsel, that includes somebody who's already conveyed on the property. That includes somebody who's under agreement and a potential buyer as well. So anybody has to do with anything of purchasing a unit. Should be
I have no
we're
problem.
just letting you know.
No, I have no problem noticing anybody who's, we can't notice any potential buyer who's obviously showed up and shown interest in the place. It's impossible. So, I mean, if that's what you're looking for, I can't agree to that for my client. It's too much. It's too much of a burden to notice any potential buyer. To people that have bought, who are there, I don't see that being an issue.
Well, if this is going to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds, I don't have a problem with that. And Mr. Gary, he's an attorney, he might have a better idea on that, so we'll let him answer that question.
Just counsel, one thing, I know for a fact that at least one of the condominiums was closed on today, so just to be fair to the applicant, I think that there has to be some sort of cutoff. I mean, he cannot be expected to notify potential buyers who are under a purchase and sale agreement, but certainly, like the board has said, maybe people who have bought the property, already purchased, already closed on the property, do have some right to be notified, at least to what's going on.
Makes complete sense. No problems there. I agree completely.
Thank you.
The other question was, will this be recorded at the Registry of Deeds? I know with a special permit, you're supposed to record it.
This will be recorded at the Registry of Deeds.
Yes.
Okay.
I should clarify that. Any approval by this board or denial will be recorded.
Okay.
Or the approval will be.
Approval will certainly be recorded, denial, it depends.
Okay, I need a motion to continue for 3 weeks. November 13th meeting, is that what it is, Diane? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to continue till November the 13th.
Mr. Flynn,
Chairman, I
seconds.
second it.
Call the roll, please.
Continue.
Mr. Flynn?
Continued.
Mr. Belanger?
Continue?
Continue.
Continued.
Is there a time I should instruct to be involved in a notice, or should I just put 6:30 as the basic time? and-
6:30 is the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Stephen McGuire, 1320 Gorham Street, to allow the construction of a second single-family dwelling on the same lot. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Kenneth Lanier from K&M Land Consultants, 1794 Bridge Street, Drake, Mass., representing the applicant this evening. We are before you tonight, and we were not able to have our counsel appear with us this evening, so we were asking for a continuance for the project for the next available meeting. If there's anything that the board would like us to clarify on the application between now and that time, we'd be glad to do so.
Okay, before we do that, we'll see what we have here for abutters. One thing I would like you to do is to maybe stake off that 26, was it 24 by 36?
Yes, it is, Mr. Chairman. It's
So
a-
we can have a good visual of where it's going to go and what it's going to look like.
That'd be fine.
But is there anybody here like this in opposition on this petition? Okay. This gentleman recommends he's asking for a continuance.
I think, Mr. Chairman, if there's some concerns that the public could raise this evening that we might be able to address prior to the next meeting, I don't know if that's possible for us to hear this evening.
Okay. I have no problem with continue with what, the 13th, November 13th? The only thing is the neighbors won't be notified. They'll have to be here for the 13th of November at 6:30 PM. Anybody have any questions? Fez? Go ahead.
No, I'm just curious. When did you find out that the attorney is not going to be here
I
tonight?
actually, Mr. Nguyen, I found out today.
Today?
Yes, I did.
What time today?
Approximately 3:30.
2:30.
3:30.
3:30. Was there any effort to try to reach the neighbor?
No, Mr. Nguyen, I made no effort. At this point, I had called the building department and spoken with Kim, who's the secretary. I asked her what I should do this evening to come. She had mentioned to write a letter, which I submitted to the board when I arrived today, and then I'm asking for the continuance this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, there's another question. Since we had a lot of oppositions here from the neighbors, that the owner or the petitioners somewhat, prior to coming to the next meeting, meet with the neighbors and to see if there's an issue they can resolve, and there doesn't appear to be any issue that they can resolve, but if there is, so that when you come back here, we don't have to send you back again for another continue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, we do have a lot of the neighbors here now, so maybe we can see what their concerns are, and then in 2 weeks from now, we'll have a better idea of what we should expect.
I think that's fine, thank you.
Okay, do you have any plans with you at all?
I did submit the plans. I'm
Okay.
very familiar with the plans,
Yeah,
Mr.
okay.
Chairman, so.
All right, great. First of all, does anybody here like to speak in favor? In favor? Okay, so we're all in opposition. Okay, who wants to speak first? Okay, yeah. Do me a favor, will you just sign in and state your
did.
name and address?
I did sign in when I walked in.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Joyce Burgess. I live at 33 Corbett Street, which is on the corner of 1320 Gorham Street. I don't live on the corner, I live about 5 houses down. I feel a little redundant saying my speech, but I spoke before the planning board and was very happy when the planning board chose to not allow the permit for the duplex that they planned on putting on this same little plot of land that's really someone's side yard. I've lived in the neighborhood for 59 years. I've lived on Corbett Street for 38 years. It's my neighborhood. My mother was born on Bowden Street. And this corner is a nightmare, all right? You have Gorham Street, Corbett Street, Spencer Street coming down, and traffic in and out of that package store is every 5 or 10 minutes between the package store and the little variety store. You've got cars backing out onto Corbett Street constantly. Now, this piece of property is directly opposite that, and there's a driveway there that would allow for it. I assume they're planning on using a common driveway because that's what they were planning on for the duplex. So you're going up, you have a street that's only 28 feet wide. It does not allow for 2 cars to pass if you've got cars on both sides. At that particular spot, right at that driveway, you have cars parked right at Joe Luz's house. You have cars parked along the sidewalk at that house. You've got cars parked this way in the package store and in the variety store. So you're trying to get through all of this little congested corner. You have cars coming down Gorham Street and cut right across in front of you to pull into that parking space. My fear is if they put a house there, you're not going to see them coming. You have no warning that they're coming. It'd be another Lundberg Street where every morning I go to school and cars pull right out onto Gorham Street to see which cars are coming, and you're dodging the cars as you're trying to dodge the school buses. You have cars, like I said, coming out of Spencer Street, taking a right onto Gorham and a left onto Corbett to go down to get to, I've watched Lowell Crossing come in with all their units. There's units on Stronquist Avenue. There's units at the bottom of Corbett Street. And they all use Corbett Street for traffic. They all come down and they fly down that street. I got to the point where that corner was so bad that you'd hear the accident, I'd reach over, pick up the phone, call 911 and say there's another accident at the corner of Corbett Street. That's how bad it was. I had 3 grandchildren that lived down the street, and the cars fly by there, and I just pray to God that they're in the house because there's no way they could stop and see these kids. And this traffic on this street is terrible. And then it's going to be compounded by the fact that if there's 2 parking spaces allowed for the big house that's already there, and then they put in a smaller house, another house, we don't even know the dimensions of the other house, which would allow for 2 parking spaces. You're talking 4 more cars backing in and out. And it's not the fact that that it's a problem that you just don't want to see anybody develop it, but it's where it is. It's the fact that it's there in the most congested spot you could ever want to see. And, there's quite a few neighbors here today, but the thing is that we thought it was, that it had already been decided. And it's something that I just don't understand why we need another house there. Mr. McGuire is not going to live there. He lives up in the Highlands. It's there. He's not going to live there. It's not his own personal domain. So it's like, why do we need another house there when we're putting 180 units in up at Julian Steel that I worked very hard to get up there? I worked on trying to get that project going. So that I'm in direct opposition to this because of the fact of where it is and the size of the lot and the fact that it can block the vision of traffic coming down and create an even more hazardous situation than what we have now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir.
I'm signed in. My name's Philip Gibbons. I live at 25 Corbett Street. My house is 3 houses down from where the, I guess I'm here. I feel kind of bad about raising opposition because I think people should be able to do with their property with what they want to do. But as Joyce has said, just the location of this parcel on the corner there, I'm sure you're familiar with 1300 Liquor is and the convenience store and the fact that Spencer Street meets there. It's a bus stop. It's very, just a lot of traffic there. And I just don't understand where that parcel is with parking and everything, how it would work.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Joseph McNamara. I live at 26 Cosgrove Street, 1 street over from where this house is going to be, hope to be. we don't want it to be. But I've been in the village now, I'm a blow-in, I've been there for 41 years, and I've seen every lot taken, and this is one empty lot that should not be taken. It's totally in the wrong spot. I thought we went through this with the planning board when they wanted to put a duplex on. Now a single house, it makes no difference. A duplex has just got upstairs to it, I guess. I mean, I don't know how they're going to put a house on this lot and have quality of life for the tenants in the future. You got a big, beautiful house there right now that has no yard whatsoever. The problem is when the whole lot, the corner was developed, it wasn't developed right. It wasn't split up right. Something beautiful could have been put in there, but now it's piecemeal, and it just doesn't fly. It doesn't fly. Just today, I came out of Corbett Street, and I almost got killed taking a left to go onto Gorham Street to get over to Cosgrove, simply because there's a car parked on Gorham Street. I mean, he has all the right to be parked there at the Packy, but you get traffic, you can't see what's coming up, you can't see what's coming down. You got an empty lot now, you can see the traffic coming down. We got 160 units going up in the river crossing, the Shaughnessy Terrace. They're beautiful, they're nicely landscaped. This house isn't going to be landscaped. There's nothing to landscape. You're going to put, I don't know where you're going to put two cars for this new house with cars for the old house. It just doesn't, it's not right. When I moved in, up in the village, if you had two cars, you were doing pretty good. If you had one car, you were doing pretty good. But, every one of the houses now have 4 or 5 cars, and we all have 37 feet of curb in front of us, and there's no room. There's no room. So my contention is that we shouldn't put any more houses there. It's a bad choice. It's all you're going to do. You're going to create another Wright Street. That's what it's going to look like. I grew up in Pawtuckaville. I grew up on West Fifth Avenue. I walked by Wright Street. I remember that lot. Mr. Whitney owned it, and now we got 3 houses on that. It's the ugliest thing there is in the city of Lowell, and we don't need that in the village. We've had enough. Enough is enough. We went through to the planning board. They wholeheartedly agreed with us. And all of a sudden, here we are again. When are we going to stop? The message is we don't want it. We don't need it. It's a bad location. I'm sorry the man bought the piece of property. He's made an investment in it, and I can't see how he's going to come out of it. But that's his problem, not mine. I don't want to create any more problems with the village. There's enough traffic up there. There's no room for that. You could only see the plans. I haven't seen the plans for this one, but we talked about having a driveway in the back to serve 2 houses. Hey, with 4 or 5 houses, cars in each house up there now, things get kind of sticky with neighbors about parking. And you're gonna use a common driveway, and it just doesn't fly. It's not the place to put a house. The condo, the duplex he wanted to put in, a beautiful looking building, but it didn't fit on the lot, and that's got to be considered. The lot is too small. It shouldn't be built on. It should be landscaped. Something should be done with it, but it should be left open. That's my opinion, and I hope you value our opinions. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we do value your opinions very much. I agree with the neighbors. I was up there today, and it is a very, very busy spot. You get the package store, and people are just coming in and out of that package store. And not so much that, but this is a corner lot where, the visibility is taken right away. You're 10 feet off. Once I saw the plan and found out that the setback was consistent with the rest of the property, I was shocked. It was just 10 feet off the lot line in the very front. It's just, especially for a corner lot. If it wasn't a corner lot, it wouldn't be as bad, but this is a corner lot, and I don't know. To me, it doesn't look good, but I'm going to let the rest of the board speak and see what they have to say. Mr. Knox, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the other aspect that was brought up by one of the neighbors is the width of Corbett Street and the parking on both sides of the street, and the fact that the plans that the petitioner has put before us have the driveway going in. Does that mean they're going to be backing out onto Corbett Street, which, with cars on both sides and the amount of traffic that comes down there, the corner itself is probably as hazardous as any corner in the city. And to be quite candid, I would agree with the neighbors, and I would not be in favor of this petition. Thank you.
Good, Corey.
I kind of concur with my fellow board members. I know Mr. McGuire has done some good projects throughout the city, but I'm surprised to see that he made little or no effort to outreach to these neighbors. I mean, when you go to a neighborhood and you build, they should know about it. And when you leave them out of the picture, it's not a good thing, and I know I'm not impressed. Along with the, as you said, Mr. Chairman, 10 feet off from the lot line, it could obstruct the view of the incoming traffic on Gorham Street, which is a serious hazard. And that's not just for the potential resident, but the whole street, neighborhood itself. Everybody's affected. I just kind of like it the way it is. It's a nice old home with a nice lot on a busy street, and I just don't think this is a spot. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Last speaker. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jack.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I agree with my fellow colleagues. I think it's a bad corner, and I don't think there's any place for that home. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to continue this to the November 13th meeting. We did get a lot of input for the neighbors. I'd like to have Mr. Lanier stake this off so the board members and myself will have a good visual where this building is going to go. I mean, 10 feet off the lot line, we'll have a good idea where it's going to go, and to give them a good idea. Any other questions from the neighbors?
Mr. Chairman?
Good.
Through you, I'd like to request to the petitioner that you attempt to reach out to the neighbors, get them a plot plan, let them know what's being presented to go there, so they're aware of it. I don't know if it's going to help matters any, but if you could, that's all I recommend. Thank you very much. And I will...
Just to represent Mr. McGuire, I mean, we did have a neighborhood meeting. We have been before the planning board for a petition that was similar to this one, as they had stated, for a duplex. We did hold a neighborhood meeting. We tried to, get information from the neighbors at that meeting as to, what concerns were brought up. At that point, we were before the planning board for the petition, so we followed through with the petition because it was a requirement for a duplex unit. They issued the denial. We moved forward with the single-family petition, which is before you folks this evening. The applicant isn't even that opposed to possibly doing a connected unit in this type of situation, if that's something that would be a little bit more appealing to also the board as well as the neighbors. And what we'll do is we'll take the time between now and the next meeting to see if that's something we could work out with them prior to the next meeting.
Yeah, why don't you try to meet with the neighbors and see if you can, connect the two buildings together? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we would use a breezeway to connect the two structures. It would be a separate special permit, and again, the attorney's not here this evening, so legally I'm not entirely sure as to what our requirements are, but I believe it's a separate section in the use table for converting the property to a two-family. I'm not sure if that could happen under this special permit request or if it would have to be a separate application. I don't know if the board might know that.
Well, you can check with Mr. Flood, and he can answer that question. This young lady had a question.
Wouldn't it still not the same number of cars in and out of there, and still backing out into the street?
Yes, it would. Yeah, yes, it would. But it would take away from that corner, the visibility on the corner. It would help that.
It's not so much, it's not so much the stuff. It's the traffic area. It's the visibility.
Okay.
And all that. It has nothing to do with whether it's one unit, two units. It's taking away and creating that in and out traffic.
Okay, so basically you're saying you don't want anything there at all?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, so we're going to continue it to November 13th, and
Should we set up a time, Mr. Chairman, to maybe go out and visit the site so that we could take a look at the site?
we'll
with
look
the
at our
stakes?
own time. If you can stake it off sometime this week,
Yep, that's fine.
maybe talk to the neighbors, and we'll take a peek at it at our own leisure.
Sounds fine, Mr.
Okay?
Chairman.
I need a motion to continue.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to continue to November the 13th.
Second by Vesna. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Flynn?
Continued.
Mr. Knox?
Continue to November 13th.
Mr. Moon?
Continue.
Mr. Gary? And Mr. Kazarian?
Continue to the November 13th meeting. You will not be notified, so just make sure you're here for 6:30, and you can speak your piece again. Okay? Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we have minutes to approve from October the 11th, 2006.
Okay, I need a motion on the October 11th, 2006 meeting, minutes.
Make a motion to approve?
Any second?
Second it?
Everybody in favor, say aye. Aye. Chair votes yes. Need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second it?
Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes yes.